Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and we're actually on the road. We're not actually against our pillows. How you doing today, babe?
I'm doing well. We had a road trip. How you
Yeah,
feel? You driving?
I feel good. I feel good. I had a good time. It was a nice trip. And
Are you okay? So we took a
I'm
trip.
choking. I'm
Are you
choking.
choking? Grab
Yeah,
some
let me get some
coffee.
coffee. Go ahead.
We on a road trip, taking our oldest back to college.
Yes,
He's been home
college.
for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Oh, that's always an adventure. I mean, only college freshmen will like pack their clothes in big garbage bags.
It was like, I think he packed like all his dirty clothes and clean clothes were all in one bag.
How many of y'all out here? How many people listening? How many people listening have kids that you've had to haul off to college? Give me a yes if you've heard or if you have any kids taken off to college. Also, give us a yes in the chat if you can hear us. Let us know you can hear us okay because we're on the road and when we're driving, we're always kind of concerned that the audio isn't going through okay. So, can you guys hear us okay? Give us a yes if you can hear us okay. Um, Somebody says, "Isn't he married to a white woman?" Oh, Kendrick Lamar. I don't know.
Kendrick Lamar's not married to a white woman.
I
No
don't.
way. I don't even know if that's true, but I doubt it.
You know what? I let's not talk about who he's married to. Let's talk about that album.
Why not? I'm gonna look that up.
Okay, Google it. Google it on your phone.
Well, I can't because I got you told me to put the lyrics up.
Oh, but you can't pull up on another screen.
All right, I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
Okay, so we're gonna look into that. We're going to. So somebody said no, he's not.
Oh, but you know what? On his album, he talked about sleeping with white women. Remember?
He kept saying, "Yeah, I F the white blank." Yeah.
It was that. What you think about? First of all, we had to listen to it. We listened to that entire album for 5 hours straight.
Well, our 19-year-old insisted that we listen to Kendrick, and I don't. I wasn't really mad at it. I wasn't mad that he insisted that we hear it because I was appreciative of the idea that he's at 19 and he wants us to listen to something that's actually thoughtful. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
say what you want about Kendrick Lamar, but two things you can't say is you can't say he's not an artist, and you can't say that he's not intelligent.
What are you talking about? Kendrick went deep down in his soul when he made this album.
He did. He did. He's an intellect, and
Yeah.
he's also spiritual. He's connected to art, and I was impressed. I was impressed with what he did, and I think that to be where I'm at, where you saw literally watched hip hop crumble and turn into garbage and turn into like this mumbling crap that people do. It was beautiful to watch Kendrick literally schooling MCs, like schooling the other rappers. Like, no, this is what a real rapper sounds like. This is what an intelligent artist sounds like. So shout out to Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, he put like I think he put some of his personal story into it in a way where it's just very relatable and I can't help but to wonder like did he tell people he was writing songs about them and his family?
I don't know.
He's like, "Hey auntie, I'm writing a song about you." Like
Yeah.
I don't know, but he hit on some hot topics.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And actually, as we move on, could y'all do us a favor real quick and hit the thumbs up button? Thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. You're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. As you know, my wife is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. I'm a professor of finance. That's what my doctorate's in. And so we are big believers in drama free lifestyles. That's drama free finances, drama free relationships. Get rid of the drama, but you got to do that by dealing with the trauma. So the reason that we're talking about Kendrick Lamar today is because as our 19-year-old forced us to listen to his album, and he played it the entire drive from Chicago and we had to drive back to Chicago because we're going to be in Chicago tomorrow for our event tomorrow, which I'm excited about. And we'll talk about that later. But you can go to boyceandalicia.com if you want to come see us. But anyway, so he had us listening to this music, and it was almost like he was really working hard to get black people to kind of understand, like, you are traumatized.
Yeah,
What do you think?
yeah, and I think he worked through some of his own issues by putting out this album. It's something really therapeutic about the creative process. It can be in any form. It could be poetry. It could be rap music, which is a form of poetry. It could be visual arts. It could be music, whatever it is, like dance. Some people put all of their emotions out on dance. Like, that's therapeutic. Just getting it all out because we walk around and we hold things inside so much. There's always. It's just really healthy to find avenues to release all of that.
Yeah, well, he was releasing a lot. Like that first video that I saw, like you guys can see it on the screen, where he,
Oof.
where he did all those. I guess he kind of shapeshifted, did those deep fakes, and you saw Nipsey Hussle and Kanye West and just Kobe Bryant and just these black men who've all had these different experiences, and it was very West Coast, and he was even wearing kind of like the handkerchief like a gang member, but it was very West Coast, where it was like, no, this is what a lot of black men that he's connected to have gone through. Kobe obviously didn't just die young, but he went through a situation where he was, accused of rape and not charged, not arrested, none of that, but still treated like a rapist. Nipsey Hussle, who was killed by another black man, I think in the same, like another Crip. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure about that, but kind of messed up. And I knew Nipsey. Like Nipsey and I were connected through the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Nipsey actually inspired me to invest in Jay's fund. When Nipsey, when Jay announced it, Nipsey got in the thread and said, "This is epic, man. I'm going to invest $10,000." So I went and invested. I said, "Oh, well, you know what? You're investing 10,000. I got you. I got 10 on it too." And so we invested, and now you have the Black House. So Nipsey, you saw Kanye West, another black man that's been pretty traumatized in a lot of ways and expressing his trauma, out loud, until he disappeared on social media.
And Will Smith. Let's not forget about that.
Oh, he was Will. Did he do Will Smith?
Yes, he did do
That's
Will Smith.
right.
Come
Oh,
on.
Will Smith. Will
But
Smith.
I mean, these are black men who've been through a lot, right?
Well, these are definitely
some black men that aren't even with us right now.
Well, these are definitely black men that are heavily influential, primarily in the entertainment space, right? Actors, athletes, rappers.
Dealing with a lot of pressure.
Perhaps.
Not having a voice. I mean, just all of that. I just felt like he was, when their face became his face, it was like he was speaking from kind of their perspective.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. And then, what I saw there was like, when I was listening to the lyrics, I kind of really saw a reflection of the trauma that so many black men go through, and just like that reaction. Like, I really think I like the idea of people getting black people to kind of reflect on the fact that it's not normal when your child has 8 friends that got murdered before they finished high school.
Right.
Or dodging bullets on your way to class. That's not normal stuff. But in South Central, like, that was ground zero for all of that.
Yeah, I mean, we just finished watching Snowfall. What is it, season 5 of Snowfall? It's been 5 seasons.
Yeah, Snowfall's great.
I mean, oh my God, poor Franklin. He just went through so much. But it was kind of nice in Snowfall how some of the main characters kind of woke up to the craziness that was going on. It was like, I gotta get out of this. Like, I'm better than this,
Yeah. So there was that one song that it kind of traumatized both of us with that relationship. What was the song called, baby?
Wait, it's We Cry Together.
We Cry Together. Yeah. Did anybody else hear any of that? Like, has anybody heard? I assume if you don't know who Kendrick Lamar is, he's a rapper on the West Coast. He's really good. Has anybody heard any piece of his album or anything like that? Again, we got lucky enough to hear it because our 19-year-old made us listen to it. I ain't gonna lie, I probably wouldn't have listened to it otherwise. But
we old 50-year-old people, boys.
Yeah, but I know a lot of rappers, so I try to keep up with what people are talking about. But I like Kendrick's music because I feel like he just really represents the essence of what hip hop is. But yeah, has anybody heard any of Kendrick Lamar's album? I don't know. Let us know, yes or no, if you've heard any of it. But so that song "We Cry Together" it's basically a couple that is fighting, and the chorus literally is "F you,
F you,
F you,
F you." But then
F you, bitch,
F you,
F you, Alicia,
F you,
F you, Alicia.
Let's go back and forth.
F you, like that's the chorus. The chorus is F you, and then the N word, and F you, and then the B word.
The B word, and that's real, boys.
Well,
people argue like that.
Yeah.
Don't play around. couples who, and I hate to say this, like couples who like really love each other and they just don't have the skills. You know they get into that.
Yeah, they do. They do. I get it, right? I understand it, right? I don't know. Give me a yes or no. Has anybody else ever had a crazy fight in a relationship and where you're like, how did I get here? Like, how did this happen? Like, how did I feel so, I'm looking real stupid right now because I'm yelling and screaming with this other person and people are watching and I don't know if anybody else ever felt that way, but it's almost embarrassing to me.
Well, I don't know if people would have that type of interaction if someone else was around. That's like a fight you have, nobody else is around, you just let it all out. Like everything that was on their mind, they just got off their chest in a way that's not productive, okay? But it's still, the message came across, didn't it?
Well, it really did. And in the song, they've said a lot of really hurtful things to each other.
Goodness.
Like her talking about, like, I wish I had blanked your cousins. Like, and I feel kind of like, I think my bigger question would be, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this, because you're the only licensed couples therapist that's on this conversation right now. But does it have to be that way? Like, I mean, do I have to holler and scream and fight and have chaos to experience love? Or can love be peaceful? Can love be at least respectful, where there's not all that yelling and screaming and saying mean things to hurt each other's feelings? I mean, I understand honesty. I appreciate honesty. But Lord Jesus, like, some words come out of your mouth, you can't take them back.
Oh, yeah. Can it be peaceful? Yeah, it can be peaceful. But it's oftentimes not. And it was so interesting because my first reaction to that song was, this is a couple that'll be together for a long time. Couples like that don't break up typically.
I think
it's just like together forever.
But is that true love, or is that just like an addiction to drama? I don't know if anybody else knows what I'm talking about, but I personally believe there's some people who can't be in a relationship if there's not chaos and drama and screaming and cussing and back and forth. Like I always say, fucking and fighting. Where you're going from one extreme to the other. It's either the water is too hot, it is scalding hot, or it's freezing cold. There is no like warm water. I like warm water, man. I kind of like peace. I mean, must that chaos exist? I mean, I think people that stay together like that are just people who are maybe addicted to each other, addicted to the sex, or addicted to something. But I don't necessarily know if that's healthy.
Of course, it's not healthy. I just want to say that when I say that they love each other, like they're clearly there's clear insecurities there. And I mean, the real question is, do you really love me? That's what they were doing with each other. That's what I picked out.
In that song.
Yes, in that song. It's like, do you really love me? Are you really going to be committed to me? Do you really, can I trust you? I mean, there was a lot of interesting, real topics about fidelity. Can I trust you? Can I trust you to really be with me and not anybody else? Can I trust you to have my back when I need you? Are you really committed to this relationship and to us? Like, I found those were the overarching themes. And the issue with attachment is that when things happen and then those realities are being threatened, that's when you start to have this fight with each other. And then it was just really interesting at the end. Of course, it ended with them kind of making up, of course. Mm-hmm. And so that's what happens. It's almost like after a fight, you have that make-up sex, that's all intense and powerful. That's an attachment thing. Like, I almost lost you in this fight and I'm so sorry about it. I really want to get you back. It's just the need to be together and to feel wanted. So underneath it all, the argument, the calling people names, all of that's not helpful. But I think underneath it all, it's just desire to be loved by somebody that you love.
Well, what it definitely reminds me of is when they talk about how there's a thin line between love and hate. Like, it seems to me like a lot of times the people most likely to kill you are the people who used to love you.
Yeah, well,
they have to love you enough to want to see you die.
Well, love and hate is the same thing. It's just, it's just one end of a perspective.
It's the same knife. It just depends on where it's pointed. It's pointed in different directions. Is that what it is?
If I don't love you, I can't hate you. It's just.
If I don't love you, I can't hate you.
Yeah, because if I don't really care about what you think of me, then you can't hurt my feelings.
Mm.
It's only when I love you. Like, you don't care if a stranger walks up to you and call you stupid. But if I called you stupid, your feelings would be hurt because you care so much.
That is so true.
And we'd be fussing. F you, F you.
It's kind of like our relationship with white people. Like, we love white people so much that we care what they think. They call us a name. We lose our mind. I can't believe you said that. You ball raggedy, raggedy, black. I'm going to jail today. You called me the N-word. I'm going to jail today. I love you so much. I'm gonna go to jail just to punch you in the face for calling me out of my name.
Calling me the N-word, which, by the way, about 5 people called you the N-word during the day.
Right. 5 people that called you the N-word.
It's just when a white person does it.
White person does it. You put that on the high priority list. Like Uber Eats. You order Uber Eats, you get priority delivery.
Oh my God, that is so true. Oh my God.
Oh, by the way, everybody, let us know. Give me a yes to let us know you can still hear us. Okay, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. We're on the road. We're actually driving back to Chicago. We're going to be in Chicago for a drama-free Sunday event. It's adults only, so don't bring your kids. But if you're in the Chicago area and you want to come to hang out with us, we are doing some exercises on how to have drama-free finances, drama-free relationships, and just a drama-free life.
What are we doing, boys? What are we doing?
Drama-free lifestyle.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so
we're ready for that.
Yes. So if you want to join us, just go to boyceandalicia.com. And if you're not going to be able to join us, just still go to boyceandalicia.com, and you can get some tips on beginning the process of living a drama-free lifestyle, starting with drama-free relationships and drama-free finances. I know that a lot of people have drama, and it really is triggered by trauma. Like, right? It's like, so when I was listening to that song and I was listening to this couple like cussing each other out, saying things that were deliberately hurtful toward one another, it made me think about the fact that you had two traumatized people who were traumatizing each other. Like if I, because I'm hurt, now I'm really gonna hurt you, and that really bothered me. I mean, it was a cool song. The lyricism was great. It was very realistic because a lot of relationships go that way. But I think the question becomes, like, it seems like there's obviously better ways to handle that. So what do you do? Like, if you're in a relationship where you're dealing with somebody who insists on yelling, screaming, and cussing, throwing stuff, saying hurtful things, whatever, what if you just don't want to go to that level? Like, how do you think a person should respond to that?
Well, yeah, I mean, clearly, once they start cussing at each other, you just need to say, okay, let's just end this conversation right now. Let's come back to it once we calm down. Like, they probably should not have let it go as long as that song. How long was that song? 3 minutes of just cussing and screaming. I don't know how the listener, I think a lot of people listening to that, it made them really uncomfortable to hear. Like, some people, I'm imagining to listen to that screaming and yelling. For some people to listen to it, it was probably very disruptive. Like, it probably was difficult to listen to that particular song. I bet for other people, maybe they didn't have that sort of reaction. But definitely, once you start raising your voice and you start saying stuff like calling each other names and things like that, somebody in that relationship, in that couple, in between the two, needs to say, let's take a time out. Let's take a time out. Let's come back to this later when we're nice and calm.
And I really think, just for black men, my advice I always give black men is, if you're in a relationship like that with somebody who's a complete, drama queen, you might have a point where you just got to shut it down, and so in that song, what was the song called? We Cry Together, in Kendrick Lamar's album. Yeah, so in that song, honestly, I think it's very dangerous for a man to try to go there with a woman, because if it does escalate and there's violence or something, police get called, you're kind of going to deal with a different reality than anybody else. You're going to be seen as the perpetrator. And I made a decision last time I had a crazy blow up in a relationship really was the one. I mean, things happen, I guess, over time, but for the most part, the last time I had an out of control situation was like literally over 25 years ago. And at that time, I just made a decision, like, I am never, ever, ever going to participate in any of that. Like, if you take it to that level where we getting embarrassed and police getting called, or you showing up at my job and somebody's throwing stuff and whatever, I'm just gonna walk out, like, or disconnect. You know, it's hard. It's hard to stick with that though. But I mean, I think just for your own safety, you got to walk away from situations like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly they're hurt because the name of the song is "We Cry Together." So it's like both of us are hurting, but we're together. We cry together. You know, we're crying together.
We
cry together.
Well, you know what I would say? I would advise any young couple that really loves each other and wants to figure out how to maintain stability for the kids and stuff is, like, get some therapy. Like, get a couples counselor. You know, get a couple that can mentor you, that you know, or person that you can really call when times get really hard. I personally think that that's a good strategy, because I think you can express yourself without having to raise your voice and act a fool. What do you think?
Well, of course you can, but again, it's tough. It's tough to stay calm, especially with someone saying things that's kind of getting you going. You know, I mean, the things they said to each other, it's hard to be calm. I mean, she talked about the size of his, you know what?
Yeah.
Like, how do you be calm? Like, it's difficult. So you got to give yourself some grace. You know, if you lose it for a second, you got to be able to pull yourself back together. I mean, the things they said to each other, golly.
You know, my theory is that there's that book called The Four Agreements, and I don't remember all the agreements, but I remember one of them was like, don't take anything personally.
Ooh, if only.
And I know that's hard to do. It is
hard
to do, and I don't do it in my own life, but but really, I publicly proclaim it. Like, that's one of my goals, is to learn how to not take things personally.
Oh,
and I think that we take things personally because we have insecurities. So if you ping at somebody's insecurity or you point at their weak spot, it's easy for them to get defensive or to get upset and get angry. It's hard for them to remember, like, okay, you know, she's just in a bad mood today. That's why she said that thing. Or he's just having a hard time with his wife. That's why he cussed at me like that. You know? But I almost feel like not taking things personally,
oh my goodness,
allows you to elevate.
I don't know. We're human beings. How can we not take certain things personally? Like, oh, gee, I mean, that's really tough. I think once you learn that something is a sensitive topic for another person, then you gotta love them enough to respect that and not say this is a sensitive topic, so I'm gonna keep drilling in on this one topic until you know you're gonna keep. You know, I think, you know, if you start to learn that there's a topic that's real sensitive to your partner, you should try to stay away from it or try to approach it in a different way where it doesn't unveil their insecurities.
Yeah, like, so going back to that song, we Cry Together on Kendrick Lamar's album, it would seem to me that after the fight is over and after you're back to, you know, sleeping together, whatever, you literally both have to have an ability to put it all behind you and forget that whole argument happened. Which I see a lot of couples that can't do that. Like so I can see the man saying, "Wait, did you really mean what you said about my penis being small?" And so at that point, she's stuck. Either she has to, if she was telling her truth, she either has to lie or she has to explain why she does feel that he has an inferior penis. Either one of those outcomes are bad, unless she was just flat out making things up.
She could have been. I mean, sometimes when you're hurt, you say things to try to hurt the other person.
But maybe
it's just what people do.
But what if it really is small?
I mean, what are you gonna do about it? You can't change it.
Right. So to me, when you let that Pandora's box out like that,
yeah,
you planted a seed that may never go away.
Yeah, you say things you can't take back, but I think the relationship could still last.
Yeah.
Between this, by the way, who is Taylor Page? Like,
oh, the lady on the song.
The lady on the song. I mean,
she was good. She did a great job.
Like, I felt like that was a real argument, and it was something about the way she was screaming. It's like her voice got hoarse. You know, I don't know how many takes they did when they did that song, but it just seemed like, oh my God, she was really crying. Like, I don't know if she's an actress or what she is. I'm gonna look her up because she killed it on that song. It was very convincing. That song made me feel that song made me want to argue. Made me want to fight somebody. I want to fight you, Boyce.
Well, you know what I believe? You know, one of my little theories, again, I'm not a You're the licensed therapist. I'm not. But let me throw a theory out there, and I think this is Uncle Boyce talking. I believe that people have things that they're upset about, things they want to have heard, and they want to have those things heard in a way that where there's no pushback at that time. They just want to vent, let it out, scream and holler. I think that's why girls turn to their girlfriends so they can scream it. They can preach to the choir, and they're gonna get is yes, girl, it's not your fault, or oh no, he didn't. They don't want to hear like, well, maybe it's your fault because blah blah blah, or maybe you did this wrong and that's why he cheated, or blah blah blah. Right? Like they don't want to hear that. They just want to hear. They just want to hear their voice heard, and that's it, right? Yeah. And I think that it's okay to want that, right? And really, so I would almost say a great gift to give to a partner is to try to create a space like where you give them that opportunity to just vent about you, vent about the world. Like you always say, shake their fist at the air, and just shut up. Like just listen. Just shut up and listen. Don't talk back. Don't give your perspective and how you're hurt too, and whatever. Like don't push the ball back. Like let them dribble the ball in their court. And I would personally say, I think that makes you valued in that person's space. You know?
I agree with that. And I also think that after you vent, demonstrate that you heard what they said, and then ask them, okay, so I heard you complaining about 1, 2, 3, XYZ. And then your next question should be, what do you want me to do differently? What do you need from me? Like, change that conversation to like something tangible. What is it that you need from me? So it sounds less like you're nagging or complaining, and it sounds more like we're going to have now a constructive conversation. Like, okay, this was terrible. What I did was awful, and acknowledge your part in that and apologize, of course. But then say, okay, moving forward, what can we do differently so that we're not back in this situation again? What do you want from me? What do you want me to do? Okay, and then it's up to you to say, okay, yes, I will do that. How do you feel now? Because that can de-escalate instead of escalating, which the whole song was all about escalation.
Yeah, I think that's another thing too. I don't know if anybody, by the way, everybody, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. We are both professors of, Alicia's expertise is in relationships, and so she's a full professor of social work. My area is finance. And we created the podcast because we were having so many interesting conversations against our pillow that we thought the world might want to listen in. So if you like what you're hearing, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also, you can visit boyceandalicia.com to get free tips on what we call the drama-free lifestyle. We want you to have peace. We want you to have happiness. We want you to get rid of the drama in your life. You can wash it out just like dirty clothes by addressing your trauma and by taking specific steps. There's too much drama in our community, and it ain't right. We shouldn't have to go through all this. So basically, feel free to go to boyceandalicia.com. We give you some free tools to do that. Also, we're going to be in Chicago tomorrow, May 15th at noon. So if you're listening to this live, feel free to join us for a drama-free lifestyle event. It's adults only. It's at the South Shore Cultural Center. It's an awesome place. It's where we were going to get married.
Yeah, it is. And then there's going to be refreshments and drinks and some networking too.
Yeah. You wanted to do speed dating.
I did. It just didn't work out. But
we got to do a speed dating event.
It's hard. I don't even want to go into it, but it's more difficult than you think.
Speed dating is tough.
It should be easy.
But we got to do it because there's so many people that we know who are upset because they're forced to date raggedy people. There's so many people out here and that's what that Kendrick Lamar song also made me think about is there's some black people that are really trying to do better.
Okay. By the way, we are talking about that tomorrow.
What, the Kendrick Lamar song?
No, we're talking about dating. We are going to talk about dating.
Well, we got DWI.
DWI.
Dating with intention.
I have thoughts on that, Boyce, but I'll save it for tomorrow.
Okay.
You're not gonna like what I have to say.
I know. Well, you know what?
You never like what I have to say. Let's just fight about it.
We can fight about it. If you, Alicia.
F you, Boyce.
If you, Alicia.
F you.
F you. Well, yeah, so we're gonna have fun tomorrow, and we're probably gonna fill up. The space doesn't hold a ton of people, you may want to get your tickets in advance. They may have to turn some people away at the door because it looks like there's been a sudden surge of online purchases. So you may want to get your ticket online so you can guarantee your spot, because it's not gonna. We're gonna have to shut it down at a certain point just for fire marshal regulations and all that. But but if you want to join us, just go to boyceandalicia.com or boycewatkins.com and click on events. That way you can find out about our other events like the All Black National Convention, October 28th through the 30th in Charlotte. That's the big kahuna. And we will do speed dating at the convention.
Oh, for sure. I'm protecting that.
Well, we got a wedding from the last convention. Keisha Ravenel.
That's right.
Yeah, her husband, wasn't it Jada?
Yes, Jedediah and Keisha. Yes.
Yep. A high value man and a high value woman.
Oh, stop.
Stop. To use the Kevin Samuels terminology.
Stop.
Well, Jedediah is
a
solid black man, and Keisha is a solid black woman. And it makes me happy because they wouldn't have met each other if we hadn't had speed dating or had our convention.
Okay.
So they're going to have babies that are born. They need to name, if they have a boy and a girl, they should name their two children Boyce and
Alicia. Absolutely.
What?
Come on.
What?
Come on.
That's what I'm talking about.
We're going to have a bunch of Boyce and Alicias walking.
Yes, we should. I think about it. You got people out here naming their babies Kobe and, and like little Jordan and Hennessy. If people can name their baby Hennessy, then you should be able to name your baby Boyce and Alicia.
Okay.
And if it's
I'm all for
if it's transgender baby, it could be Bolisha. We're inclusive over here.
We are.
We don't discriminate.
Non-binary people are welcome. They're welcome here.
Everybody's welcome.
That's right.
Everybody's welcome. We got love for everybody. Anyway, okay, so let's. But but the speed dating I think is good because it's like when I think about that song, like I feel like there's so many black people that they're tired of the drama that they grew up with. They're tired of the chaos. They're tired of having raggedy relationships. They're tired of broken families. They're tired of all the things that are supposed to come with being black, and they just want to do better. And in a way, it's like creating a basketball team. If you decide you want to be a better basketball player, but you team up with guys who are out of shape, who can't shoot, can't dribble, and don't practice, well, your team's not going to be very good. And you're going to end up having to score all the points yourself, and you're still going to lose. Am I right or am I right? So instead,
that's one way to look at it.
Right. So instead, why not go to the basketball camp where they train the players and say, "Hey, I've been working hard to be a great teammate. I want to find a teammate that is worthy of me."
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I think single ladies should be at the convention.
Yeah, and single men too.
And single men. The single men. I really do. If you have a hard time finding someone, because you're gonna have people from all over the world probably.
Yeah, we always do at the convention.
Always, yeah. So that's the place to be. I mean, of course you're there to get the knowledge, but you're also there to scope out the view.
Well, it's knowledge, it's socialization, it's fun, it's energy plus intellect. Like I kind of feel like for men, what I'm really thinking about are men who maybe are like myself, who are thinking about their legacy, who actually have ambition and don't want to be punished for it. Like I get tired of seeing smart guys getting passed over for thugs or women chasing bad boys. I had a conversation with a young lady I know who she came up close to 30 and she 2 kids, and stuff like that. And she says, now I think I realize chasing the bad boys is not a good option for me. I want to get a decent guy. The problem is, that the things you do in your 20s stays with you, and I said, you're very sweet, you're a very nice person. And I'm sure you can meet a nice person to join your family. But, I kind of wish we understood these things early, or maybe that's the process. I mean, what do you think? Do you think it's just natural that in their 20s, women are going to chase the bad boys and then in their 30s suddenly realize like that being with a bad boy can come with a bad outcome?
Well, you date at your level of esteem and self-worth. Wow. So it's,
okay.
Who you date is a reflection of how you see yourself.
I can see that.
So there we go. That's all I'm gonna say for that, because I'm talking about it more tomorrow.
Yeah, buddy. Woo. Yeah, that self-esteem piece is a big one, and I feel like if you're missing that validation from either parent, that can really affect your self-worth.
But just because you didn't get that validation from a parent doesn't mean you can't get it. Like, there's other ways to get it. You can parent yourself at a certain point. Like, when you get to a certain age, you're not a child anymore, you're an adult. You have the mental capacity to program yourself to see yourself in the way, whatever you consciously want to do, you can program yourself to see yourself in that way, in those shoes, whatever lifestyle, whatever you want. You're the magical creator. Everything around you is all because of you.
You're the magical creator.
You're the magical creator of everything. You manifest everything. You can't not manifest everything.
Okay. I hear that.
It's impossible.
I hear that.
It's your fault. Whatever's going on, that's going to be my next.
My fault.
That might be my next Instagram post.
What?
Whatever you're going through is your fault.
Dang, okay, that's kind of harsh.
It's your fault. Stop blaming everybody else. It's not like people to be like, well, I could have done it if such and such and such and such. It's like,
or if this person had, if my Uncle Louis hadn't have done blah, 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 if he'd have turned in the paperwork.
It's you.
Well, I do think.
On some level, it's you.
Well, I think that there's something to be said about personal responsibility being very empowering. Like, I put up a post actually on my Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins, if anybody wants to follow. And I put up a post where basically it was a study about learned helplessness.
Yeah.
And they were saying that people can learn how to be helpless. Like, you can train them to believe that there's nothing they can do, even if there is something they can do. So you can put a solution right in front of them and they'll be like, I can't do nothing.
Oh my God. And isn't that true with some Black people? Like, it's like our brains have been trained to think that we can't do certain things.
That's heavy. That's
so
heavy.
Caught up into. And it takes some conscious behavior in order to snap out of that and retrain yourself. Yeah.
Well, I'm in agreement. I mean, I kind of think that addressing these things and addressing the brainwashing is absolutely critical for just healthier relationships in general. And I really think that if you're from an environment that doesn't have healthy relationships, I encourage people to go study relationships, like study how to be a good husband or be a good wife or be a good friend or whatever. Like, study models of family that you admire so you can learn.
Yeah, I mean, I like the study part, and I do like having the skills and the values that come along with that, but you got to practice. You don't put it into action, and be easy on yourself, because I think, like, while you're practicing some of these things, you're gonna mess up.
Right, absolutely.
And so the compassion piece is so important. It's like, oh, dude, I'm trying here. Okay, I messed up. I'm gonna do better this time. Like, don't let it be beneath you that you shouldn't be in a position to be apologetic when you've done something wrong. Like, see yourself, acknowledge some parts in which you have played a part and why things didn't go the way it should, and then work on changing it. It's not beneath you. It's not out of your reach.
You see, and what I think about when I hear us have a conversation like this is that everybody ain't equally enlightened. Some people aren't that smart, So I almost feel, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with them. I'm just gonna say, look at how much thought we put into addressing the subconscious mind and the brainwashing and forming new habits and all that. Some people just don't for some people, they would think this was an uppity conversation. So I think that's why it's important to be thoughtful about who you choose to spend your time with, who you choose to procreate with, and all that. Because I can't imagine, I'm gonna tell you what made me think about this. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who introduced me to her new boyfriend. And I'm not gonna lie, my friend I know she's very smart, but her boyfriend wasn't. And I could pick up on it. He was talking my ear off, and she was embarrassed, I think, because she knows that he was talking because he was excited to meet me and everything else, but he was literally talking my ear off. And she's like, and he wasn't really saying nothing. He was saying stuff that was like, it sounded like gibberish. And I just thought about it, and I almost felt bad and embarrassed for her, because I'm sitting there thinking, why did you pick this man as your boyfriend? He's not, he doesn't match you intellectually. So I don't know. I just think that's embarrassing when you're like with somebody who's just not that bright. It doesn't mean you have to hate dumb people. Just if you got that person around you and that's your partner, that's your representative, you got to think about that type of stuff.
That I hear what you're saying, and there have been times I've thought that to myself. I don't really share. I wouldn't really openly share that, but I just shrug my shoulders and go, you know what? To each its own. Maybe he's smart in other ways, or she's smart in other ways. Maybe they have. I don't know. I mean, maybe. Who knows what people go through in the decision-making process they're in when they pick a mate. You just don't know where they are. And I think the biggest key is that all of us are on different developmental paths. So people are at different places. There's probably people who are way more involved than we are, Boyce.
Yeah, of course.
And they probably look at us like, okay, Boyce and Alicia, they'll come along, So, I mean, you guys need to have patience with people in their development. Because what'll happen is that you keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And then eventually you have to look back on that and say, okay, what can I do differently next time around?
Well, you know what, I almost, one of my theories is that it seems to me that sometimes maybe we pick our relationships based on criteria that seems to matter at the time but doesn't matter as much later on, and we forget about certain things. Like how's this person going to look in front of my family? How's this person going to look in front of my business associates? What's it going to be like laying on the pillow next to this person and trying to have a conversation with this person? And I almost think, I mean, I guess there's ways around everything, but it almost seems to me like that's something to think about that a lot of people don't think about. Or you think about a man, or let's use an example. Like, I think about even Will and Jada. I wonder if Will Smith is a little embarrassed by Jada Pinkett's like her red table talk and some of the things Jada's done, or Jada going on, I think on the red table talk she said something about being addicted to porn and sleeping with that little kid, August Alsina. Like, some of these things are like, now in Jada's defense, she's like, I'm being honest. That the red table is a place for honesty and healing. Okay, I get that.
She wants to tell her story to help others.
Right.
But good grief.
But she's lifting the veil off of the mystique of the Smith family.
It was better when we knew very little about them.
Right. Like they were supposed to be like Barack and Michelle, Jay-Z and Beyonce.
Yeah.
Now they're not. They're becoming they're a step above Bobby and Whitney.
Oh my God. Remember the reality show?
Oh Lord.
That was really something. And it's hard because like Will and Jada, like that's the couple. Like that was the couple. They were doing it together. And so it's hard to see them kind of fall off a little bit. And I hope their marriage lasts, but it doesn't seem like it will. But I hope it does.
Yeah.
I wish them the best.
And falling off in a really ugly and public way.
Yeah.
And I feel like the Oscar slap, it didn't seem like that worked out for Will Smith. I mean, but maybe there's something I don't know. And almost like now you've been kind of banished from Hollywood a little bit, from the respected circles of Hollywood. So now you're kind of just another couple on the internet, but like a messy, dramatic couple on the internet.
Oh.
So I don't know. I just think about that. Like, I think about little things like that. And I can honestly say, like, when I wanted to marry you, the things that appeal to me about you is that, because you're smart, we can have great conversations together, when we're laying in bed. The second thing was, I knew you wouldn't embarrass me in front of other people. Like, I know that if you came on my podcast, you would be like, duh, duh, duh. You know what I mean? Like, you would say some intelligence. You have something to offer because you're a scholar.
Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, I knew I could introduce you to my friends, and you would greet them with that big, beautiful smile and be very friendly. And you don't just have intellectual skills. You also have a lot of social skills. You know, like you're a social butterfly, right? So I could have a dinner party and everyone would say, "Oh, your wife is so amazing." Like I think men want that, you know, and actually, and this is you can tell me how you feel about this, but it's really kind of a defense of Kevin Samuels because I think Kevin actually kind of said that you want when you are a man that's trying to protect something, you want a woman that you can present to the world that's going to honor and respect that. She's not going to embarrass the family. I think it's okay to say that.
Yeah, I mean, love is not enough for you to settle down with somebody. I mean, I wish it would be. That'd be great. If all you had to do is just fall in love with somebody and then it'll just be like the best story ever. But it's not that easy. I mean, love is a necessary ingredient, but it is not everything to make this person your life partner, somebody you can marry. It's got to be more than just love.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
like I think that if, for example, I would be very uncomfortable if you were on a red table talking about some of the stuff Jada talks about, you know.
But I don't have any stories like that. I'd have to conjure them up.
Right. And even
like I for real don't have any stories.
Right.
Like
but even if they occurred, it's like I feel like that would be a private family matter. I don't see that being something like I'd probably be kind of like
it's just TMI. It's
yeah.
Like, we don't even care. Do we care? We don't care.
No, we don't. You know what? Michael Bivins from Bell Biv DeVoe, he came on my podcast one time years ago, and he said something. I remember where he said that you know he's Mr. like he's real good with images, and because you know he was the mastermind behind the whole BBD concept, which I thought was brilliant.
Yes, it was.
Because to be honest, like. It was like, okay, you had Trez Vant, who could be a great solo artist. You had Johnny Gill, great solo artist. Bobby Brown, great solo artist.
The
other three, it's like, okay, we can scrap these three ingredients together and try to make a meal.
And
you know what I mean?
A good meal.
They came together and became more talented than all of them. Yes. You know, like I love that. I thought that was so brilliant because they kind of knew they didn't have it.
They are not solo artists.
Right. They didn't have Trez Vant, Bobby Brown talent. You know, and I said that, you know, Ronnie's a friend of mine, and I hope he doesn't think I'm being offensive by saying this.
Oh, he knows it already.
I think he knows it too, but they knew how to capture the image to create one of the greatest groups of all time.
I think they're up there. They're definitely up there.
Yeah, like I'm always quoting lyrics from the song. Like, can you? I talk about investing, and I'll literally quote Bell Biv DeVoe songs and New Edition songs. Like, can you stand the rain, and then never trust a big button to smile. I talk about that all the time. So Ronnie, that's one thing Ronnie brought up. He said, the other day I heard you say never trust a big button to smile. I said, yeah, because you got to be smart when you make your investments. But anyway, so here's the point. Here's my New Edition point. You ready?
Okay. What's the point?
All right, so I remember Michael Bivins said, basically, he was talking about when you're going on social media or whatever, you know, like, people like the authenticity, but only so much. Like, they don't really want to see you with no makeup on, looking raggedy, at your absolute worst moment. They don't want to see that. They want to see you in all your glory. So you can give them, like, a glimpse.
Yeah.
You know, like a little bit. Okay, here's behind the scenes, da-da-da-da. But don't give them, like, your most rough, raggedy, and raw side of who you are. Because I don't think people really want to see all of that.
Yeah, a little mysterious. You know, be mysterious. Like, you know how Prince was? That's how Prince was so appealing. Because you never knew what was Prince doing. Why won't he wear blue jeans? It's like, what's going on with him? And then
why is he wearing panties and high heels and stockings with the booty out? Right?
He's got blouses.
But she thinks Prince was masculine.
Prince is very masculine.
Okay.
By the way.
Okay.
But I mean,
let's believe that with the booty out, the booty draws. But go ahead.
But I mean, even Michael Jackson. I mean, we got to see a little bit of his life, but we were waiting for it. Like, he's just so. I don't know. That's how you become superstars.
Oh, Michael Jackson was the man.
We couldn't get enough of him, and he always left us wanting more. That's what it is. Leave us wanting more, like Prince and Michael Jackson.
Shout out to Michael Jackson and Prince.
Ashe.
Do you know
what you talking about? Ashe.
Do you know that Michael Jackson and Prince had dinner together one time? The story goes. This is how the story goes. And they sat down, and Prince did not say one word.
That's right.
At the dinner table.
That's right, because they were rivals. They had to have been. I mean, that's the 80s.
And then Weird Al Yankovic said that he went to the Grammys in the 80s, and Prince was in his role, and somebody passed down a note to him that said, "Please do not speak to Prince." And so,
man.
Yeah, so Weird Al Yankovic wrote a little note, and he said, "Please tell Prince, do not speak to me."
But it don't sound right. It don't sound right unless you say it first.
I think that was so funny. Well, shout out to Prince, what was so great was that both of those guys were activists.
Yes, they were, and I like how Prince. He was an activist and he gave a lot of money. Every place where he gave a concert tour, he was so generous with his money that he would like assign seats to, I don't know, the local homeless shelter can come and have free tickets to all of his concerts in every city he was in. And he donated a lot of money. What I loved about it is that a lot of people didn't even know. He didn't do it to broadcast, I'm donating all this money. Like he did a lot of it and no one knew much about how he did his.
Wasn't that from his religion? I thought wasn't he Jehovah's Witness, a 7-day Adventist or something? And they're not supposed to brag about stuff like that.
It depends on the era. I think maybe later on in his life he went back to Jehovah.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure when he wrote the song Erotic City, he was not a Jehovah Witness. Like that wouldn't fly.
Shout out to Prince.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, everybody, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. My expertise is finance. This is my wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. She's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. If you'd like to learn more about what Dr. Alicia does or follow her on Instagram, you can go to Coaching with Dr. Alicia, coachingwithdralicia.com or at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. And make sure it's the real page, because apparently you have a fake Instagram page that has over 12,000 followers on it.
I wish I could be as good as that fake page and all the bots.
Yeah, the bots are winning. So
the bots are winning.
So the bots created a fake Alicia Instagram page. So if you see the fake one, make sure you report it. The real one is Coaching with Dr. Alicia or coachingwithdralicia.com. And also, if you want to join us tomorrow for our one day event in Chicago, we're only going to be there for one day. Feel free to go to boyceandalicia.com, or you can go to boycewatkins.com and click on events, and we'll see you there. All right. So any parting thoughts, babe, before we bounce out of here?
Bravo to Kendrick Lamar. That's all I have to say. I was waiting for an album from him. We hadn't heard from him since the Black Panther, which is another epic album. And I think he's got more to say. This is just the beginning, I think. So.
Yeah. Kendrick is a beast. He did a great job with that song. And for everybody out here that's dealing with trauma or drama in your life, just know it doesn't have to be this way. In fact, drama takes energy. And when something drains your energy, you don't have the energy to apply to achieving the things you want to achieve. So your energy has to be preserved. It has to be protected. It has to be efficiently aimed at the things that matter most to you. So if you go to boyceandalicia.com, we have some free tips, free training on how to implement a drama-free lifestyle, drama-free relationships, drama-free finances. We even have a Black Love Challenge. If you are in a relationship and you want your relationship to be optimized, we have the free Black Love Challenge you can take. So there's a lot of options, a lot of stuff that we have for you. So just go to boyceandalicia.com, get on the email list, and we'll send you tons of free stuff. So anyway, guys, it was great talking to you. It was real. Thank you all for joining us. I appreciate it.
Goodbye, everyone.
All right. Have a good day. We'll see you all soon, and hopefully we'll see you in Chicago tomorrow. boyceandalicia.com, or you can go to boycewatkins.com. You can click on events and check out other cities that we'll be in. We are going to be at the Essence Fest. So for 3 days, I'm going to be in New Orleans, right next door to the Essence Fest, doing all kinds of stuff. We're going to do speed dating and deep dive financial training on real estate, how to start a business, how to build your wealth, all kinds of stuff. So feel free to go to boycewatkins.com, click on events, and you can see what we're doing in New Orleans. And then, of course, there's the convention at the end of October in Charlotte. So be there, be square, mark it on your calendar. All right, guys, have a good night. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. We will talk to you soon. Love you. Peace.